Today, I want to talk about 3 reasons men should read and why they don't. One of the constant conversations I have with men is the stress they feel with work. They're expected to do more on the job with less help. They feel pressured to email and text on weekends. Margins for rest erode. Time to recreate is pushed aside. And one of those things pushed aside is reading. Add to this the modern day movie. It's the place where many men go to enter a story visually. It's a matter of simple math. Why spend hours reading a book when you can go to a movie and get the gist of it in 2 hours? Finally, add to all this the stimulus of video games and social media. There is an immediacy about both that viscerally pulls in a man, especially younger men. The results are known to every publisher. Whatever statistic you want to use, it says the same thing. Women are by far the majority readers. The cultural forces are compelling us as men not to read, but we need to push back. Here are 3 good reasons. Reason number 1, leaders universally admired by men were lifelong readers. Abraham Lincoln taught himself to read at an early age, traveled far to borrow books, and read every day, even during his White House years. Winston Churchill read every morning and before his afternoon naps, helping him clarify his views on life and politics. Teddy Roosevelt had a daily habit of reading before breakfast and late every night, reading thousands of books in his lifetime. Somehow, these incredibly busy men knew how crucial it was to read. The well-known maxim says it best: leaders are readers. Reason number 2, reading is rest. In the physical act of taking up a book, we slow everything down: our bodies, our minds, our hearts. We focus in and attend to the narrative or the flow of thought in front of us. I work with men all the time, ministers, therapists, doctors, teachers, who struggle to slow down. They're used to life at hyperspeed. Reading is one way to interrupt the hurry, and it can become a daily habit of rest. Reason number 3, reading fires the imagination. Behind all great scientific discoveries, victorious war strategies, and winning sports plays lies the imagination. It allows a man to dream, to envision, and to move forward into the future with hope. It is certainly one of the most powerful gifts God has given us to men created in His image. But when the imagination is disabled or unused, the capacity to envision and dream suffers. So do the men. I believe that the loss of a sense of God's presence and the hope of heaven is largely due to a loss of imagination. But when we read a book, unlike watching a movie, we are invited to use our imagination with the scenes and stories set before us. We exercise that muscle and find it suddenly helping us in other areas. So, if you want to improve your reading habit, here are a few tips I want to offer you in closing. Number 1, start small. Find 15-minute slots that work for you and expand as you can. I like to read before I fall asleep every night, and then on the weekends during the afternoon as I drink my tea. Tip number 2, go with books that stimulate your curiosity. This will help keep you motivated as you read. Tip number 3, work with a genre you were drawn to, but be willing to expand out. I once read mainly nonfiction, but when I started reading fiction and myth, it opened up a whole new world for me. Tip number 4, ask God to point you to the books to read. Of course, we need to keep reading the scriptures. Abraham Lincoln did that as well every morning. But I cannot tell you how many times a book has been God's tool to give me something crucial that I needed at that moment. Remember, God is always at work. He is not discriminate, and He can even use the books you're reading. So, be one of those men that push back against the culture. Take up that book you've been wanting to read and dive in.